welcome to the show. Joining me today is Lau Bik Soon. He is the Group CEO of REDtone Digital Berhad, one of Malaysia's leading telecommunications and digital infrastructure and services provider. Mr. Lau has been a Vistage member since 2008 and was recently recognized with Vistage Lifetime Achievement Award. So congratulations, first and foremost, Mr. Lau or Bik Soon. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're most welcome, Cynthia, and thank you all for having me here.
Well, Bik Soon, 17 years as CEO is quite an accomplishment. You have seen a lot of changes in the industry. Can you talk about when you first started and now, how has the industry evolved?
Well, 17 years for telecommunication industry is really a big change. You know, if you recall those days, if talk about fixed line, we are probably talking about copper-based last mile. But today we have fiber to the home, and in the mobile world, from 2G, 3G to 4G, and today we are actually talking about 5G, and that's the evolutions of the technology have really changed the way people communicate and the way we access to the information. So for fixed line, right? We never have experienced IPTV, but today you have a lot of options of how you access media content over an IP network at home. And in the mobile world, the changes is even a lot more. From those days when 3G, 4G available, then that start the generations of smartphone. And with smartphone, it come all the apps, applications, and the technologies is getting better, faster. And today we are talking about high speed, low latency, and massive connectivity world of 5G. And that will enable a lot more other application, use case, and it will change the society, how it works, how we communicate with each other. So a lot of changes. And as a telecommunications company, we have to continue to evolve to stay relevant with the industry.
Now, speaking about staying relevant, you said REDtone started out as a more traditional telecommunication services provider. What many Malaysians do not know that REDtone is in other industries, for instance, medical imaging technologies, IoT, smart farming. This is hardly what you would think of when you mention a telco. Can you tell us a bit more about that part of the business?
You know, REDtone has evolved over time, as I mentioned, right? As the technology evolves, we want to stay relevant, we want to stay close to our customer. Since I joined REDtone in the year of 2006, I have personally seen three major transformations of REDtone. When I first joined, we was in the traditional business of offering voice services. So what we do is we help customer to terminate the voice call. This is mainly the office voice, and because of the volume that we have, we actually translate that benefit to customer in terms of the cheaper phone rate and cheaper phone call. During that time, the industry was going through a form of consolidation, and business is actually coming down. The voice business is coming down, rate is coming down. So I joined, and my first task is really to transform the company into a data services, because not only the voice, now we are talking about data, because connectivity is getting better, faster. And I still recall we started out by buying a small company of doing point-to-point wireless connectivity, and the rest is history. And we have grown our data business to provide not only the connectivity, all different type of last mile, wired, wireless, satellite, Metro E, fiber, but we also started to add value to our customer. We do manage network. What does that mean? Now, if you have one offices, you want a connectivity. But if you have multiple offices and the offices wanted to communicate between each other in a secure manner, you need a private network or virtual private network, and that's where we come in. We will tell Mr. Customer, don't worry, I handle your network. You know, if you got 50 branches, I will handle and ensure all these 50 outlet is connected in a secure manner. For managed network, then we started to offer more services. Then cybersecurity become big thing. It's managed cybersecurity, managed Wi-Fi, it's extensions into the local area network. So that's what we do, transforming from a voice service provider into a full-fledged telecommunication service provider that offer data and managed services. And our traditional business of voice has also evolved. Now with the IP coming in, now you have voice running on top of IP. And we will start to offer services like SIP trunking. We started to offer things like IP cloud, especially during the COVID, right? Everybody have to work from home.
Yep.
So and our services just come handy because you want your office number to follow you back to home, and we offer that services that enable that the IP cloud portion of it. So that is the portion of telecommunication services, first transformation. Now in the year of 2013, so it's about 10 years now, I look at it, I say, hey, looks, we have already offering telecommunication services, and we have built out the expertise on the engineering segment of it. So why not we get into telecommunication infrastructure building? And that's where we have decided to get in, and our first entry into this business is actually to do engineering services for mobile infrastructure, mobile tower in the rural area where you have the infrastructure, but someone need to put the electronics, someone need to manage the electronic. So our expertise come in doing the technical installation, optimization of the electronic, manage it, and interconnect with the rest of the mobile operator. So the people or the riot around that infrastructure can actually get the mobile telco services without then having the infrastructure there. But those are actually managed by REDtone. So today, REDtone is actually the largest neutral mobile more CAN operator in the country. So that is actually our second transformation, and today I'm pleased to say that this portion of business, which is a managed telecommunication network services, comprise of about 50% of our revenue actually come from this particular segment. So that is actually quite a nice transformation. And
the third, I imagine, is digital services.
Yes, and that's why you talk about. So just now you mentioned about the virtual reality, the IoT stuff, teleradiology. Those all fall under industrial digital services. To me, it's actually the same playing field. Now let's look at it. Today, if I have built telecommunication infrastructure, I have actually helped to connect the customer. It only made sense for me to help my customer make sense out of the data that been translated over the infrastructure. And to do that, you need the digital services. So I have the fundamental of digital services, which is a cloud services, infrastructure as a services. And on top of this infrastructure, then we started to build vertical. Again, REDtone is a company that specializes in offering services to organization, telecommunication and digital infrastructure services to organization. So for that, it makes sense to go into a vertical perspective. In 2016, we look at the industry, we say, hey, looks, there are really not enough smart agriculture technology in the country. A lot of the system is actually imported and is very costly, especially for the small farmer. So it took us 2 years to build that technology. We built our IoT gateway. We built our central control system in the farm, and then the data will be transmitted via our telco infrastructure into the data center, and that's where we do big data analytics, AI, and control back the farm. So today, I think REDtone is the largest smart farming solutions provider in the country. We have also won an Apita Award for the best agriculture technologies like two to 3 years ago.
This is such an amazing story of REDtone that I think a lot of people do not know about. As a leader, it's then crucial to identify, spot the opportunities and act on it. I do wonder for you, how do you go about approaching that on a personal level?
Well, I think it's really about understanding what our customer want. As a company, our mission is really to give positive impact to our customer. So that is really our priority, right? So looking at how to help our customer, understanding their need, and that's what eventually trigger us to look at what else can we do, to help our customer to be more efficient, to help them to improve their business, and that's where it primarily is come from. And that's, I think, is one of the most important factor. Understanding a customer, stay too close to a customer, helping customer to solve their business needs. Yeah.
Throughout your tenure as CEO, or even in the business, I'm sure you have seen lots of changes, ups and downs. What would you say has been your biggest setback in your career, and how did you manage to overcome it?
REDtone is not smooth sailing, right? So there will be time that, especially in this early days when our voice business is going down, it is really a tough time, and we will have to figure out how do we transform, how do we continue to stay relevant to the industry. And when come to this situation that require to make tough decisions, I typically take an approach of transparency management. We have annual planning, quarterly review, monthly review, and weekly hurdle. In the process, if there is any challenges that the company face, I will certainly bring it out for a discussion on a workshop format. I want to hear what my people say about these challenges that we face together, and we want to come up with the solutions to address that. Even if we don't have a solution immediately, we will try to put in actions plan to get close to the solutions that we want. I think as a leader, what is really important is to align the entire organization, align the key management and say, hey, look, this is our priority for this year. This is our top 5 priority for this year. And this is our top 5 priority for the quarter. And then they will automatically translate that into their departmental priority. Now, once we be able to align that from the top all the way down to the departmental level, then it will actually bring the whole team together to go after the goals that we set. And as a leader, it's really the role to pull all of them together, to get them excited about what we are going to do, and also to make everyone believe that we are working down the right path. That's, I think, what I will do during the time when I have to make tough decisions. If I could not get any solutions out of inter-organization, one of the areas that I always go through is actually my peers group in VCE 16. My brothers in VCE 16, and most of the time, in situation like that is where I couldn't make out my decision, and I will then seek their advice and opinion, and my peers and my brothers are all very trustworthy, open, and very straightforward. That help me to face the brutal truth, and also with all this input, then I will just have to take a decision and move on. Yeah. You
mentioned brother. It almost seems like it has been part of your family, being with Vistage since 2008. How has that shaped you as a leader, do you think, over the years being with Vistage?
Well, I've been with Vistage for 15 years. We have a group, a dedicated group, and we meet once every month. And we also, individually, we also have one-to-one with our chair. And I treasure this meeting a lot because a lot of us has been in the group for a long time, and we learn together. One of the things that always inspire me when I go for this monthly meeting is my brothers will inspire me with all the energy, the success, the push that they have in the business, and that's in terms of drive me and say, hey, Bik Soon, buck out, you just have to match up, you just have to move on, and that's really motivate me a lot. But what is really important is because the bond, the trust that we have built up. If we face with some challenges, indecision, we will typically discuss openly, and all the brothers will actually give their very frank input. And coming from the third party, right, it's always neutral, and it's always very constructive. And that's helped a lot. And that's actually one of the things that I treasure a lot. And every day, after the meeting, I walk out and I learn so much that I will have to do debrief on myself and say, hey, looks, what do I learn and what do I take that forward? That's on the monthly meeting itself. And on the one-to-one with my chair, Richard Wong, and it is also a very interesting sections because this is where I do my reflection and getting input for someone who has experience of or different aspect of the business and personal growth. Yeah, so that's I really enjoy that process.
Yeah. When you talk about taking all these lessons that you have learned forward and also implementing in your organization, I imagine when you first started, you have one or two big verticals, and now you have so many different verticals. How do you do all that to keep everyone in line, to keep everyone focused on that one goal that you're trying to achieve?
If you look at my business, it's actually all interrelated, right? So it is actually three main pillars: the telecommunication services, the managed telecommunication services, and industrial digital services. Now, one of the things that that you have to do is, it always go back to the core. What is our purpose? So our purpose is bring positive impact to community and organization by offering valuable and reliable digital infrastructure and services. And that's what we do. And that's what keeps us relevant in the industry. And in order to do that, I think we also have to start to mold the culture.
Right.
Mold the culture of the organization. So one of the main culture of our organization is about taking responsibility. And that's have to be triggered down from the management level all the way down to the executive level, because we have to take responsibility on what we do for our customer, number one, and number two, some of this could be an internal customer. So some of this could be serving internal customer, and they also have to take that seriously on taking responsibility. We even have a tagline. We say, "You can count on me." We give everyone a T-shirt with a big bold statement, "You can count on me," right? So when they go to the customer, and that's what we would expect them to demonstrate that attribute with our customer.
People, of course, is one of the main focus, of course, when it comes to running a service like yours, right?
Sure.
Can you talk about talent and getting the right talent and keeping the right talent in a fast-changing industry like yours?
Well, it has certainly not been easy, and we are continue to face the challenges of getting the right talent. But what I believe is it comes in two aspects of it. First is the growing the talent in the organization. Second is about recruiting the right talent to join us. Now, let me talk about the first part, growing the talent. We believe in innovation. Now, and we believe in continuous learning and personal development. So one of our core value, our second core value, is really about learn and innovate. Now, REDtone as an organization, if you look at the history of 26 years we have been around, you notice that we have been transformed time after time. And the reason why we can do that is because of our people. And that's what we value a lot. We say, you must learn and you must continue to innovate, to be different. Because we are not a very big company. I have 350 people. As a telecommunication company, it's really not that big. And in order to differentiate yourself, we must be different. And so one of the things that I have done is actually I put in a system to mandate all our employees to have 40 hours of learning every year. And this is tracked. And we give flexibility. As long as you learn something related to your job, or if you learn something about your personal development, we are fine. So you can take courses prepared by the company, training department. So we set out a REDtone Academy for that purpose. And you can also propose if there is any course relevant to your job out there, you can also propose that. Or you can go to MOCC website and take a course and prove that you have taken the course. As long as you have 40 hours of training and we track it. And I also mandate all my staff in their PMS, performance management system. Learning is become the top one, and you can't change that. You must have 40 hours training. And I'm happy to say that with putting all this process in place, today 90% of our employees actually have 40 hours of training a year. So, and that is one of the way of how we grow talent within the organization itself. And being in a fast-changing industry, we just have to change.
Yeah.
Now, I have staff that join us knowing only voice, but after that they change and they know how to do the data technology and to support the managed telco network services. So that is how we want to grow. Now, of course, being an organization that we must also be able to attract talent, especially the young talent to join us. Today, younger got a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
So how do you attract them to join us? So we have a lot of program putting in place to attract young talent. One of those is really about we offer flexible working hours. And because this is actually a technologies company. Over the last few years, I've actually digitized the entire organization. Most of the processes today, in fact, all our processes today is actually online. So it gives flexibility for us so that we can move a lot more faster. I think flexibility is one of the very key component to be able to attract the young talent, right? So that's what we do to attract talent and to grow talent in the organization.
I wonder, what would you say would be your proudest accomplishments or achievements with REDtone?
Well, I think over the last 26 years of journey, I think we have won many awards throughout the years. I think probably in the range of 35 awards that we have won. In the early days, being a technology company, we have won the APITA Prime Minister Award. For recent years, one of the awards that we have won and we are very proud of as an organization, last year we have won the Edge highest growth in net profit, highest growth in ROE for 3 years in the segment of media, telecommunications and utility. It is actually a good recognition to all the team member for all the hard work, effort that we have put in growing the company. Now, so that's a good recognition. Yeah.
And personally, then, for you, after achieving all this tremendous achievement over the years, what would be your next big goal for you or for REDtone?
Well, I think it is really about going back to our purpose, right? How to bring positive impact to the organization and community that we serve, and that's what really personally drive me forward, and that's what really drive a lot of my managers forward. I could share a story with you. We are in these services of offering managed telecommunication services, right? So there was this infrastructure that we have put out in a place called Padale in Sarawak. Padale is in the inner of Sarawak, and if you take a car ride from Miri, it is 16 hours off-road. So at this place is probably about 1 hour from Barrio. Barrio is probably places that most of us will recognize, right? So the infrastructure is out. I went to the place and I met the Ketua Kampung. So the Ketua Kampung was saying, look, we're really appreciative of what you have done. For 60 years, we do not have any communication in our village, and if they want to make a communication call, they have to drive 1 hour to Barrio. So they are primary school there, right? So there are kids that ready to go to secondary school. Every time when the kids wanted to go to secondary, the mother, the grandmother will hug together and they will cry because they won't be able to see the kids for the next 1 year until they come back for Gawai. So, but with the telecommunication infrastructure to put out, now they could actually be in connection with their grandchildren anytime they want. So story like that really touch us, and we say, hey, look, we have done some positive impact to the community that we serve, and that's what really drive me forward, and that's what I want to do more. I want to continue to provide positive impact to the community and organization that we serve.
Oh, that's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I think even as leaders or CEOs, sometimes you need guidance, from
Sure.
time to time. And
Sure.
I do wonder, what's the best piece of advice have you received, and who was it from?
Well, okay. I think throughout my career, there are a lot of good advice from many people, friends. One of those that always stick with me is no decision is worst decision.
Okay.
So that as a leader has really driven me, because every time when I come to a situation that I'm not sure what to do, I would tell myself, looks, do I have a clarity of thought on this subject that that I'm facing now? And if I have my clarity of thought, then the next thing is just make the decision. Whether it's a good decision or a bad decision in the future,
Find
because
out.
you will never know, right? You will never know. Face it, move on. But if you don't make a decision, that is the worst decision. So that has been one of the things that I will always keep that in mind.
It's good advice to live by. Now, just one final question. I think some of us might be curious to know, as a tech enthusiast and a CEO of a telecommunications company, what would be your go-to app or gadget that you cannot live without?
Well, I don't use a lot of different gadgets, but I think one of the things that I appreciate very much is cloud application. I think today, like as in our business, we have moved a lot of things to the cloud, and that will actually really help a lot, because in the mobile first world, with the mobile, you practically can access to anything as long as it is on the cloud. So that's something that I really cannot live without today. Is a cloud application, all the different cloud application, whether it is for the personal apps or it is for business apps.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what would you say would be the biggest trend in your industry in the coming years?
In my industry, I think the biggest trend will probably be 5G adoption in the industrial space. I think with the availability of 5G, it will change the way we do business. It will also change the way we communicate. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yep.
And REDtone, of course, is involved in
Sure.
the 5G
Yes.
rollout in
Yes.
Malaysia.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Bik Soon. This has been wonderful insights from you, and thank you for sharing it with everyone.
Well, you're most welcome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.